arrest of officers for enforcing vaccine mandates and other COVID-19 restrictions.
We can all start calling 911.
Instead, 3 protesters themselves were arrested. The province's Special Investigations Unit is looking into possible injuries suffered by one of them, but says the man isn't helping.
Get that sign out of here right now.
Another was just arrested for allegedly assaulting a counter-protester.
Saturday was not.
That's what we're here for.
They came to the police station looking for what they say is justice, to make a citizen's arrest of officers for enforcing vaccine mandates and other COVID-19 restrictions. The city's mayor couldn't hide her disdain.
It seems to be that they live in a world of delusion.
Romana Didulo, who calls herself the Queen of Canada and has thousands of online followers. She was in Peterborough as part of a cross-country promotional tour. This expert in extreme violence says the movement is anti-government in nature and should be taken seriously.
The weekly anti-government protest downtown took a twist after this woman, Romana Didulo, in the motorhome, called on people to arrest members of the local police. But arresting the police is something new.
The obstruction, potentially, of the police movement throughout the police department is likely what caused the issue.
It's either insanity or it's treason.
You go home, wherever you came from, get out of here!
Anti-extremism agencies say Didulo started as a QAnon conspiracy theorist, but has turned into something else. She claims to hold many titles, including the Queen of Canada and the National Indigenous Leader. She has amassed a following on social media and travels the country in an RV with devout followers. Meanwhile, officials say a couple of hundred townspeople lined the streets, telling them to leave. In the end, we're told Didulo did not attend the meeting, and the group had packed up and left the town with an RCMP escort before 4 p.m.
And has amassed almost 60,000 loyal followers who believe in her bizarre conspiracy theories. Analysts say this Phil-Canadian has risen as a fringe QAnon influencer and has gained ardent supporters who willingly accept and follow her strange decrees, such as her declaration that water and electricity are free and that she is canceling all their debts, including mortgages and rents. But many of those who followed her orders now find themselves in danger of losing their homes or having their power and water cut off due to non-payment. She has also allegedly called supporters to shoot down healthcare workers and politicians involved in mass vaccinations.
Hello, everyone, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you've all had a lovely, lovely weekend. First of all, I want to apologize. I did. I'm just so used to saying allegedly all the time now. I did set this stream for yesterday originally, and it was supposed to be for today. I don't know why it was set for yesterday. So I apologize to anyone that was waiting for this to go live yesterday at 11:30. It was supposed to be set for today. It's my own fault for setting up like 8 live streams late at night. And yeah, I got mixed up, obviously. So I wanted to apologize to everyone for that. I didn't know until April, like, wrote me on Discord at, like, 12:30 my time, like, hey, is everything okay? We've been waiting for, like, an hour. What's going on? And I was like, what do you mean? Oh, crap, I'm supposed to be live? No, that was for tomorrow. Because she's like, you're going live. I'm like, no, I'm not. Today I posted about I'm going live tomorrow. She's like, no. You're an hour late for your live today. I was like, oh, shit. I better go and fix that. That wasn't cool. So I'm sorry, guys, but we are going to be talking about this today. Yes, today we are going to be talking about something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. But to be honest with you, it kind of went dormant for a little while. Not much was going on. Nothing really in the public too serious going on. So there wasn't a lot of information out there about this lovely QAnon Canadian cult. But then everything's been popping off over the last few weeks with it. So I was like, okay, now is the perfect time to talk about this. So I'm going to say hello to everybody and then we'll get right into it. Hello, Jack. Good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Hello, Devil's Advocate. Good to see you. Simon Says, good to see you. I hope you're having a good day, guys. David Page, thank you. Happy Tuesday to you too. I'm doing all right. I'm here. Freddie says she has a nice RV. She does. I mean, I guess you would, though, if you made money to run a cult. Yeah, she does say that she is an indigenous person, but she is, in fact, from the Philippines. So I don't understand either, but, whatever. Good to see you, April. I hope that you are doing very, very well. Freddie is always here. Everybody say hello to Freddie. Hi, Freddie. Hi, Kendall. Good to see you. I just figured that you were busy with something else, Queen. I would never do that. Like, I think that's only happened to me one other time where I scheduled a stream and then something happened where I couldn't, like, change it, Where I couldn't, like, change it. And I ended up, like, not showing up or being late or whatever else it is. That's nice, RPN. People can go ahead and do whatever they want. I'm just not going to watch it like I don't watch any of the other things about me. April was ready to throw those hands. No, April is too sweet for that. She's definitely too sweet for that. That's for sure. So, this last couple weeks has been a little bit crazy here in Canada with this cult, mainly because they have taken up residence in a Saskatchewan school. And there's just a lot of drama going on. So like I said, I figured now would be the best time of all times, The best time of all times. So, just in case you guys are unaware, I'm pretty sure that most people know what QAnon was. Most of you guys are aware of what QAnon is. You guys all know what QAnon is. But just in case you don't, I think we should just go over quickly just this little blurb here that I have highlighted because it just kind of sums it up pretty quick. And it's a good little summary here. So, the first post by Q was in October of 2017 on good old 4chan. This is a cult that started on 4chan. A lot of people used to call it the 4chan cult. So, I guess before it really fully became the QAnon cult. And Anon is, of course, for short for anonymous. So, Q claimed to be a high-level government official with Q clearance with access to classified information about the Trump administration and its opponents. Q soon moved to 8chan, making it QAnon's online home. Q's often cryptic posts became known as drops and were collected by aggregator apps and website. QAnon became a viral phenomenon beyond the internet and turned into a political movement. The followers began to appear at Trump campaign rallies in August of 2018, and Trump amplified QAnon accounts on Twitter. Their conspiracy theories have also been relayed by Russian and Chinese state-backed media, social media troll accounts, and the far-right Falun Gong associated Epcot Media Group. Since its emergence in American politics, QAnon spawned movements around the world. The exact number of QAnon adherents is unclear. This is mainly because the people that are a part of this group are all over the place. And a lot of what happens with this political cult, if you will, is it's online and it's fake accounts. And hence the whole Anon thing, right? So there is no real way, much like when we talk about on passive before the SEC lawsuit, we would have to kind of throw out numbers and be like, yeah, there's no real way to tell how many people are in it because they don't keep track of these things. With this one, it's almost impossible to keep track of how many people are actually a part of it, you know? After increased scrutiny of the movement, social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook began taking action to stop the spread of the conspiracy theories. A lot of the followers have perpetuated violence, which I think is one of the main reasons why they get judged so poorly, because they tend to do things that are violent. And when you do things in a violent way, people don't really want you to listen to you. They don't like you. You know? You know? Anyone here see Reno 911, The Hunt for QAnon? Funny stuff. Yes, yes. Freddie ready to throw hands with the people last stream. It was my Italian side. Yeah. Let's just appreciate for a moment that QAnon started on 4chan and that these fucking boomers actually ran with it. Best fucking 4chan hoax ever. See, the funny thing is when I first read that, I too was kind of like, were they just joking around? Like, they tend to do. Like, they're trolls. They're trolls, right? Like, most of the people on 4chan were trolls. So I thought the same thing. I was kind of like, I feel like these guys were all trolling. And then somehow it became a cult. And then, like, the first people that ever posted as Q on 4chan are now sitting back like, shit, man. We didn't think it was going to turn into all this. The fuck did we start on here? You know, like, that's so much better of a thought to me than some asshole, like, set out to create some kind of cult, like, political cult, you know, to support Trump. I almost like that story better. I like the story of some dudes, some trolls just being like, yeah, man, we were trolling on 4chan and then accidentally started a cult. It fucking sucks, you know? Like, that's way better to me. Way less malicious and funnier. More funny. More humorous for sure. That's cool, April. I hope that he does well at the dentist. It's a troll cult. You know what? I think for some people it was. Like we were just talking about. And then it was kind of like, yeah, some of the boomers, if you will, kind of took it crazily far. So did this lady from the Philippines. Okay? I'm going to show you a news clip of what happened about a year or so ago with this cult. This right here that I'm about to show you is from August 31st of 2022. And it's Filipino-Canadian healthcare workers express concerns over the pronouncements of self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, Romana Didulo. The QAnon-inspired conspiracy theorist has ordered her followers to execute those involved in mass vaccinations and arrest police officers. So this is what kind of first started the issue. So you have to think, we have the Freedom Convoy here in Canada, where everyone came with their trucks, right? And it was the Freedom Convoy. Everyone was coming with their trucks. They were against the vaccines, and they were apparently here to speak out against the vaccines, right? So that was all kind of happening. At the same time that, like, that was happening, okay, is kind of when Romana showed up and started acting a fool over all of this and sort of stepped in and said, I'm the Queen of Canada, especially now. Everyone listen to me. And so since the Freedom Convoy was going on, emotions were high. Everybody was arguing. There were literal people out in the streets here honking their horn until 6 in the fucking morning. It was an awful time for a lot of people. So as all of this is going on, as you all know, there's a vaccine mandate. That's what this whole thing's over. And this bitch decided to tell her followers that they should start executing the healthcare workers that are doing this. So the nurses, the doctors, pharmacies were handing it out. So even them, anyone that was giving out the vaccine. And she also told the followers to do a citizen's arrest on any of the police officers that they could. Right? Which is what you're going to see taking place in a little bit here. Now, right, Freddie? Right. It is crazy. She is a complete loon bag. She's a loon bag. And for some reason, people are listening to her. And I'm like, can we stop? Can we please stop? I was vaccinated and I feel just fine. It's only when I walk really close to 5G tower that it tickles a little bit. Yeah, when I walk close to a 5G tower, it just turns me off. All right, it goes, and then I feel like a malfunction. It's weird, man. It's weird. But I feel like this here gives you a really good kind of look at how this kind of started. Because it's been going on for like a year straight now, where this lady's just out here causing problems.
Yes, that is correct, actually. That is correct, that I could have gone to any country.
This is Romana Didulo. She may seem like the typical harmless senior Filipina immigrant in Canada, but as she may not be a household name to many in Canada, she actually claims to be the self-titled Queen of Canada and has amassed almost 60,000 loyal followers who believe in her bizarre conspiracy theories.
Somebody is fucking her over, because I would like to think that if you were the fucking Queen of Canada, you would have more than 60,000 followers, okay? I'm just saying. That I was like, really? That's
Analysts say this Phil Canadian has risen as a fringe QAnon influencer and has gained ardent supporters who willingly accept and follow her strange decrees, such as her declaration that water and electricity are free and that she is canceling all their debts, including mortgages and rents. But many of those who followed her orders now find themselves in danger of losing their homes or having their power and water cut off due to non-payment. She has also...
So we actually have an issue going on right now where the people that followed this lady actually did not pay any of their bills. So they have the belief that electricity should be free and water should be free. Now here in Canada, most places, not all, most places, okay, you can get like hot water included, and I'd say about a good third of the places that you could rent here, if you will. Of course, if you're buying, you're not getting anything included. So I'm talking about people that rent. Usually you can get all inclusive. Cold water is free here, but you have to pay for gas or sometimes even a water tank in order to get hot water here. Okay? So, and then in some places, like out in Muskoka, I know some of my friends out there, they actually do have to pay for their cold water too. So it kind of like depends where you are in Canada, if that makes sense, like what province you're in, how rural the area is versus the city. A lot more rural places have to pay for water, whereas most places in the city, the water's included, unless, like I said, you have to pay for the hot water with gas, or some places will have a hot water tank that you will have to like rent. Okay, that's how it works here. It's probably similar in the US and elsewhere. So what they did is they decided they just weren't going to pay any of their electric, and they were not going to pay if it was gas, they weren't going to pay that because they felt water should be free. The thing about gas is that it's also in charge of like your heating and other things. You know what I mean? So it's like, probably should have paid that. So now they are actually owing on their bills and they're getting cut off because for some reason they didn't take a minute to consider that this bitch does not really have any pull in our parliament whatsoever. So it's not like she could actually make these things free. Like, she can sit here and say electricity should be free and water should be free all she wants. She can do rallies. She can show up to Parliament with 5 million people screaming that it should be free. But the thing is that doesn't then mean that they're going to change the laws and the government's going to be like, all right, let's start handing out free water or whatever, right? So they are literally all in crisis. There's a bunch of them in crisis right now going, well, this lady told me that water should be free, so I didn't pay my water bill for 7 months, and now I owe a bunch of money. What do I do? See, right here it says, I am doing all I can to support Her Majesty, Queen Romana. Yeah, okay, Queen whatever. Queen scam. And her reign. I am without electricity since yesterday and I require assistance. I am understanding that Queen Romana's reign and decrees shall be enforced by any and all means necessary. I have faith. I am requesting a time estimate as I believe my internet phone to be disconnected tomorrow as well. Please help. So not only is your water and your electricity supposed to be free, they also think that you should get free phone, free internet. So this person didn't pay that bill either. So they're not paying any of their bills. People are not paying their mortgages over this. And then they're getting liens put on their houses. It's like, come on, guys. This lady doesn't have the power to do this, though.
So allegedly called supporters to shoot down healthcare workers and politicians involved in mass vaccinations. Former Hospital Employees Union Vice President Bonnie Barcia says this is not only alarming, it is endangering the lives of healthcare workers.
Right?
It's worrisome because you don't know how many she can convince. And I hope that she cannot convince lots of people because what she is doing is wrong.
I'm not really happy with what the threat is. And of course, we are here to help people, not just, and I don't like that kind of threat.
The province's health minister, Adrian Dix, slammed Didulo's threats as unacceptable.
It is not acceptable to impede or block people from accessing healthcare, and it's not acceptable to make any kind of threat towards any person, but especially in these times, a healthcare worker.
Meanwhile, Didulo claimed that she was detained by the RCMP in Victoria under the BC Mental Health Act last December, but was subsequently released. Most recently, she ordered her followers to make a citizen's arrest of police officers, but they ended up getting arrested themselves.
That was actually in Peterborough. So here in Ontario, in Peterborough, and that's where you saw people at the beginning of this, if you were here for the intro, where you saw people on the ground being dragged and etc.
She has since been touring various Canadian provinces in her RV in a self-proclaimed meet and greet to personally see her supporters. Minister Dix...
So yeah, I believe that the stuff within Peterborough happened last summer. And then up until a couple weeks ago, she was touring. So for about a year, touring in the RV.
Along with former Attorney General David Eby, believe that Didulo's QAnon conspiracy theory community is small, but the government is not taking their threats lightly.
What we want to do is make sure that when our healthcare workers go to work, they know we're behind them and supporting them, and that's what we have to continue to do.
I think this is a very small but very vocal minority of people that are making these kinds of threats, but regardless, we need to be prepared for it with the laws and resources necessary to respond.
The former Attorney General...
That guy sounded like Trudeau responding to something, I'm just saying.
...added the government has enough tools to go after those threatening the safety of Canadians. Rowena Papasin, ABS-CBN News, Vancouver.
Excuse me. So yes, that is what was going on about a year ago. Dentist visit with kids is never fun. Never fun, April. So I hope that it goes well. So she got in a little bit of trouble for that. I mean, it is technically threatening a terroristic threat. You could say it's threatening death on people. And you could say it's enticing violence. It's definitely a conspiracy theory to have a bunch of people go and attack. You know, you're creating mob attacks and stuff. So she was in a little bit of trouble here in Ontario. But she decided that, you know what, we're just going to go and we're going to arrest all of the Peterborough police. So she and all of her followers showed up in Peterborough and they went to town. They marched over to the fucking police station, right? And they started picketing out front of the police station, saying that it was against the law for anyone in the government or any of the police or anything to kind of enforce the mandate onto people. Because around that time, we were having people kind of going into stores without masks on. And when the store clerk would say, you know, you can't be in here without a mask, please put on a mask, the person would like act violent in a lot of cases. Especially if they were in QAnon, they tended to act violent. It seemed like a lot of these cases were people not wanting to wear their masks or get their vaccines, and they start acting violent. It had to do with QAnon somehow, right? So the police would basically show up. They would show up and they would be like, you know, like, you got to get out of the store. And some people ended up arrested, usually not because they were refusing to get a vaccine or wear a mask, like they want to say it is when they come out here on social media, but because when they were told that they had to get a vaccine or wear a mask, they would do something violent. Like they would cause a scene in the store and like act up and shit, and then the cops would have to come. And they would continue to cause a scene, so they would end up arrested. So since a bunch of them ended up arrested for that, then it was a big conspiracy theory where all the cops were just going around. They were trying to arrest all of the QAnon people. It was awful, guys. It was awful. Horrible. Horrible. So then that became a thing. All right. And sort of to combat all of that, okay, she was like, we are going to go and we're going to arrest the fucking police. Oh, but not only the OPP, the local police. OPP here is provincial, the Ottawa or Ontario. Okay, so that's provincial. But then we have our local police, and then we also have the RCMP, which is like our federal police. She also said go arrest the RCMP. Yeah, go and citizens arrest Canada's FBI. It will go over real well for you. Go for it. Do it. I know people in other countries think that they're just Mounties on horses or something. They're not. They're just like your FBI. Although they're here in Canada. That's the only fucking difference is that they're in a different country. They only sit on the horses and wear their Mountie hats when it's a parade. Or special occasion like the Queen is coming to visit. Rest in peace to her. Good thing we have a new one, I guess. Another thing that she did right around that time, which you just brought up actually, is she started to send out like letters, not only to politicians, like everybody, like anyone that had any kind of power at all, anywhere, would receive a letter from her, basically with her announcing that she's now the Queen of Canada and that she runs things now. And it was like, I'm sorry, who are you? Who's this? This lady just sent me a letter telling me that she now presides over our government. Now, she has been involved in the government slightly. So it's not like she just came out here some rando on the street from the Philippines and was like, hey, yo, what's up? I'm going to be the Queen of Canada. She was born in 1974, right? So she would be 49, same age as Selena. Apparently we have an issue with people born in 1974, guys. She's the youngest of two children. Her father was a lawyer and an engineer. And her mother seemed to be a homemaker. Her grandmother was an educator, though, and she fought against Japan during World War II. Unfortunately, her father died when she was 10 years old. And then her mother died when she was 11. So she ended up being raised by her school teacher, who she called Aunt Winnie. Winnie, like Winifred. My middle name is Winifred, by the way. Winnie. Winnie the Pooh, kind of like that. And also her grandparents. She kind of went back and forth between this school teacher and her grandparents. The Canada First Party's website says that on July 5th of 1990, she was 15 years old and she immigrated from the Philippines to Vancouver, Canada. But some other sources claim that she first stopped in the U.S. where her uncle lived, and that she allegedly lived in the U.S. with her uncle for a little while before coming to Vancouver, Canada. What you need to know is that she eventually ended up, by the time she was an adult, allegedly when she was a teenager, in Vancouver, Canada. She became immersed in online conspiracies. In 2020, she re-emerged as the founder and leader of the non-registered Canada First Party, with the slogan, "Draining the Swamp in Ottawa." This is when she started to produce video interventions, and her public persona underwent a series of rapid changes. She was the leader of a political party, then she was the head of state of a Canadian republic, then she was the Queen of Canada with high-level extraterrestrial connections, and she gained followers in 2021 after she was endorsed by several popular QAnon influencers, especially here on the YouTube platform. Yay! Look at YouTube, just spreading the good word about them people. Right now, she is actually one of the most prominent figures of the QAnon movement here in Canada, probably also in the US. I'm sure a lot of people out there know her too. And she just continuously is into conspiracy theories. A lot of them are derived from the sovereign citizen movement, so I don't know why she's decided that that's a good idea, but a lot of them are pseudo-legal concepts and things that you should never, ever, ever fucking believe in, okay? Like, ridiculous things. And, she has not only proclaimed herself to be the Queen of Canada, but as of late, she's also proclaimed herself to be the Queen of the entire world. Because that's a thing. Yeah, that's what we want. Yep, we want one person to control the whole world. Just like in Pinky and the Brain, I'm here to take over the world. That's always a great idea. You gotta love it when people want that. You know? Crazy people in the Canadian government? No way! Our government's just as bad as the US. Just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. Go YouTube, right? YouTube out here doing good work again, I guess. She obviously has some mental health issues and needs to be medicated. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting, right? Because you have to think, some lady shows up here. She's been the head of one political party at one time, a few years ago. Okay, several years ago, actually. Like, you know. and then all of a sudden, she's the Queen of fucking Canada. Most people would hear that and go, "Wow, this person's fucking insane." Literally insane. They have delusions of grandeur. Don't follow that person. But for whatever reason, the QAnon people were like, yes, you are. You are the Queen of Canada. So I found this awesome BBC News article that kind of sums up what's been going on with her since she kind of first made her splash out here. I'd say mid-2021 is when people were really, really talking about her, but it just got worse and worse and worse for like 2 years straight. That disappeared for a while because she was just in her van going around. Not much happened, right? Until the thing in Peterborough. And then it's just been nonstop since then. So, of course, this is her. She is Filipino. Race is very important here. It is important mainly because here in Canada, I don't know if you're aware, but in the US, it's the blacks that are get racism. Here it's our Native Americans that are treated like shit. It's them who we stole the land from, stuck in residential schools, put in residential housing. They are the minority, the oppressed minority here in Canada. So for someone to claim to be, this lady is our Rachel Dolezal, okay? Is what I'm trying to tell you. For her to claim to be indigenous when she is completely from the Philippines, not the same, all right, is that cultural appropriation is the same as someone in the US pretending to be black when they're not. It is the same thing. Because here in Canada, it's the Native Americans that faced all the oppression and still do to this day. So it's the Native Americans, the indigenous people, all of these people that are actually the protected class here in Canada. Right now, they're considered a protective class, and it's because we treated them all like shit. All right? If you are so many percentage of Native, you can even get a tax exemption card here now as like an apology to you for how we treated you, how our ancestors treated you. So it's very much the same thing here that we have with the indigenous people. And it's like we had them as slaves. Okay, in the US, you guys have black people as slaves. We have the indigenous people as slaves. All right? We were being to them. We put them in houses. We put them in ghettos. We put them in these awful residential schools for decades that are actually just getting shut down right now. Literally, some of them are just getting shut down right now. In the 2020s of our world, okay? It's ridiculous. So here in Canada, the oppressed people are the Native Americans. Native Canadians, lots of them like to be called, because they're like, I'm not from America, I'm Canada. I'm like, it's all North. Do you know what? Never mind. So basically, her saying that is the exact same thing as when Rachel Dolezal came out here and was pretending to be black. There's no difference. The oppression here with Native Americans is the same as the oppression in the US with people of color, okay? It's the same sort of thing. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's a little bit different here in Canada. We have very similar histories. It's just, it was a different group of people that we did it to here. And some would argue we did it here first. To them before any of that other stuff happened. So, yeah, the Canadian government is like, we're sorry, have a tax break. And here's the thing. They only apologized for this just a few years ago, too. Like, I don't think people actually realize how awful they get treated here in Canada. And the fact that, like, all that shit happened to them. And Trudeau was the one to apologize. Right? He's only been the prime minister for a few years now, right? So it's like, yeah, we should have fucking apologized for that like 70 years ago. Like, we're late. We're very late. It's very disgusting. I still am kind of like, yeah, I'm still not impressed, Before Christopher Columbus, yes. So just know that it is important to know that she is 100% from the Philippines. Completely 100%. It's not the same thing here. So it's like, listen, come on, lady, So it says she claims to be the Queen of Canada, and now she's holding court in an abandoned school. And you're like, whoa, that escalated quickly. So for those that are unaware, she's actually in Saskatchewan right now. Yes, in an abandoned school. The one that you saw in my thumbnail, if you saw my thumbnail. Romana Didulo is a QAnon-inspired conspiracy theorist, and she leads a group of supporters who have spent the last few years traveling around Canada in motorhomes and other vehicles. Definitely since the summer of 2021, they were doing that. Recently, the group moved into Richmond, a village of around 150 people in southwestern Saskatchewan and settled in at a former school. Miss Didulo and around 15 to 25 of her followers have been at the site for about a week. And this was only posted September 27th. So they've been there since the end of September. It's been about a month that they've been there now, right? Soon after their arrival, the neighbors began pushing them to leave. You have to think, this is a small town. 150 people is not a lot of people, okay? So to have literally 25 people and their cult show up, and then take over a school, that's a big deal in such a small town as well. Big shock. Around 100 local residents drove around the school on Sunday in tractors, semi-trucks, and other vehicles, trying to drive out the incomers. It's the only place in the village where there's a playground and where kids can safely ride their bikes away from the highway. It became a high-tension situation. The town doesn't want them. Miss Didulo, who was 48 at the time of this, she would have just turned 49, immigrated from the Philippines to Canada as a teenager. She set up several businesses before forming a fringe political party in 2020. Following endorsements from QAnon leaders, she built up a band of followers, declared that she had overthrown the legitimate government of Canada. And says her claim to the Queen of Canada title is backed by secret, powerful U.S. military interests. I didn't know that the U.S. and Canada were going to go to war, or that they were working together to help the Queen of Canada reign with QAnon. Little weird. But, that's what she says, so it must be true, right? On her most popular Telegram channel, okay, I'm going to tell you guys something right now, just because it's come up again. And I'm going to say the same thing I do every time. If I am ever on here and I'm talking about Telegram, it's a scam. All right? All the fucking scammers, all of the cult leaders, all of the really bad people in our world right now, they're using Telegram. That's where Joshua Moon is too, by the way. I'm just saying, all of the bad people are on Telegram. No matter who they are, no matter where they're from, no matter what they do, they're all on Telegram. All of them. Every single one. So just as soon as you hear someone's on Telegram, You should be like, oh, well, this is probably a dishonest, scummy, sus person, okay? I only go on Telegram to check out the scammers on Telegram. Ash Bufara has the Telegram, all right? That's all you need to know. And she has issued decrees to absolve her more than 36,000 followers from bills and debts, which, again, as I keep pointing out, she really does not have the right, the power to, literally nothing to do that. That would literally be like me sitting here just in my living room and being like, me and the people in my chat now, yep, all these people talking, like Jack, we got Tony, hello Rebel, good to see you. So we have Rebel here, we got Spurg here, we got Jack here, we have Ken here. Yep, none of us are going to pay our bills from this day forward. Yep, nope, we're not going to pay our bills, none of us. I decided that. I decided today I am the Queen of Canada, and nobody here has to pay bills. And it's okay, because the U.S. military is apparently helping me with this. So the only person that's screwed is Spurg. I'm sorry, I don't work with fucking Belgium. I'm sorry, dude. But the rest of you, you don't have to pay your bills. All right? Because I said so. It's literally that exact same thing. All right? Although she's a little bit more well-known. But we have the exact same amount of power, which is none. Zero. Zip. Nada. All hail Queen Beth. Oh God, now we're really going to be accused of being a cult over here. Damn it. Does that mean I don't have to work as well? Sweet, yes, Freddie, you don't have to work. You don't have to pay bills. We're all good. All good. I decided that today. There we go. Like, literally, that's what it is. So you have to start to wonder, right? How is this woman from the Philippines that just, like, showed up here in Canada as a teenager and then now in her adult life is pronouncing she's the fucking queen of it? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Spring. I'm sorry. I'll hit up Belgium later. So, like, how did we get to a point, right, where she has the power where she can then tell people not to pay their bills? Right? Because if I was actually being serious right now, and I said to any of the people in my chat, like, seriously, like, you don't have to pay, like, don't pay your bills, they would laugh in my face and be like, yeah, okay, queen. Yeah, I know you're called the queen of Carbon here, but she ain't the queen of nothing. I still gotta pay my bills, bitch. All right, I still gotta pay them. Like, what are you on about? Do you need us to get you to the hospital? What's going on? So I'm like, how the fuck did this lady just, like, announce this to all these people? There's a good, like, they said 36,000 people that just stopped paying the bills, man. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. That they were just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, she says we don't have to pay. Okay, cool. I'm not paying. Yeah, no, we're done. We're done paying bills now. It's like, that's not how the world works. How did we get here? So this has resulted in followers losing their homes, cars and possessions, and anything else. Like, all of their, like, you know, we've had them have their electricity cut off, water not working, all kinds of crazy stuff. All right? There's a professor at Chatham University in Pittsburgh, and he's an expert on extremism and the sovereign citizen movement. How do I become that? That's what I want to do. I want to be an expert. Hi, I'm an expert on cults and the sovereign citizen movement and incels. Nice to meet you. A broad collection of anti-government groups who dodge taxes and make up their own fake legal systems. They're my favorite. I really like them. They're funny. Miss Didulo and her followers spread a variety of different beliefs, including, like, the whole sovereign citizen thing. Like, as you know, don't pay your bills, don't live on the grid, you know, that kind of thing. Anti-vax conspiracies. Yes, they did very strongly believe in the 5G conspiracy. They also believed that the vaccines were putting chips into you. Actually, you know what? The easiest thing to do here, guys, is for me to basically say, any of the crazy conspiracy theories that you have heard about vaccines, that came from either QAnon or it came from Jenny McCarthy. All right, if it didn't come from Jenny McCarthy, all right, and Marky Mark, step by step, you know, all right, then it came from QAnon. That's the easiest way to put it, because it was basically like any single fucking vaccine. Like, they were like, Bill Gates trying to kill us. The 5G thing's real. They're putting chips on. Like, it was all of them. All of them. That's why it's just like anti-vaccination conspiracies. Because it's like all of them. And ideas related to QAnon, which is basically like this thing that the US president, Donald Trump, who is no longer the president, but for some reason they still think it's going to be him. He's the chosen one, if you will. That he's actually waging a secret war against the elite, Satan-worshipping pedophiles in government, business, and media. Because if you are not a good old Christian boy, you are a good old Christian? No? Well, then you must be here worshipping that here devil man with them pointy horns and shit. And I'm like, really? Really? We've gone back to the 80s? To the satanic panic thing again? That's what we're doing? Okay. That's literally what it is. Like, I can't explain it any other way. Go and check out my video on Satanic Panic if you have no clue what I'm talking about. I did do a deep dive on it. Yeah. So I'm like, really though? Come on, guys. But that's what they believe. Donald Trump is here to save the regular everyday man from everyone in government. While QAnon's spurious narratives revolve around U.S. figures, the theory has taken hold in some parts of Canada and the rest of the world. Yep. Miss Didulo's group participated in the Freedom Convoy protests here in Ottawa, where I live, yay, in 2022. Yay, yeah, she was here. Yay, she was pretty much the one heading the whole thing. Yay! She was like, yeah, guys. Yeah, freedom! 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 Is being able to hug your horns at 3 a.m. when there's babies sleeping and people gotta get up for work early in the morning. Freedom! Because that's all that happened. Called Brainwashing 101. Step 1. Convince people they are already brainwashed and you are going to help deprogram them, right? Bill Gates actually warned us for a global pandemic about 15 years ago. Nobody cared. That's very true and very funny at the same time. So it happens. There's no point in warning people, okay? Nobody wants to be warned of everything, of anything anymore. They just want to go into everything blind. So, as we know, they participated in the Freedom Convoy. I already made that very clear that I was upset about it. And last year attempted to arrest police officers in Peterborough. So yeah, that was last year too then. I thought so. Ontario. Accusing them of crimes against humanity. That was their big crime. Which is, the police don't usually arrest you. Anyway, we just won't get into the legalities of how ridiculous all that is. Miss Didulo also frequently calls for violence against those administering COVID vaccines to children, according to the Anti-Defamation League. And since they're about anti-defamation, it's not defamation, okay? She's the ultimate anti-government person. And she regularly threatens, okay, to execute her opponents. They say, this is not a harmless cult. This is a very dangerous cult that she somehow has about 63,000 followers, guesstimating. All right, they've guesstimated about that many. 36,000 of them stopped paying their bills. And all of them want to be violent against the government, no matter what government they have, no matter where they are. That's the funny part too, right? Is that they're like across, so they're just against all government. They don't want anyone in power except for the Queen of Canada. She's allowed to be in power, and they'll listen to everything she says, and she can boss them all around. But they like freedom, okay? They like freedom. They're free. They promise. They're free. And nobody else like a government will ever boss them around. They only bow to the Queen. It just sounds ridiculous to me. There's been journalists, not just this one here in this picture, Thomas Fugier of Community TV, which is allegedly a local TV in in Saskatchewan. Now we're in Saskatchewan. This is the school here. So he's been reporting on this locally in this area. That this is kind of like their local TV. So I just call it community TV. It's like Channel 6 News, you know? It's the same sort of vibe, same thing. Hello, Insolent Violet. Good to see you. I wish I could forget about it, but this bitch won't go away, so then I have to keep being reminded of it. 36,000 of them. So they've guessed that she has about 63,000. They're just going by how many like people are subscribed to her, though, I feel like. And then they've like subtracted a few thousand to basically be like, well, some people are subscribed laughing at her and shit, you know? So in a couple of the articles that I had found in researching this, they had said that there's about they guesstimate, right? Because again, there is no way to know. A lot of this is online and it's worldwide. So there is no way to fully know. But they've guesstimated 63,000 in total. Still, though, 36,000 people not paying their bills is a ridiculous number. It's a ridiculous number of people to just be like, fuck paying bills. All hail the Queen of Canada. But this poor gentleman here, this young man here, that is just working for his local fucking newspaper, his local TV station, and all that, he's standing in front of the school here. These are 2 followers up on the roof. Not her. That bitch would probably never climb up on the roof. She doesn't want to hurt herself. So she sent her 2 followers up there, you know. You know how these cult people are. And he's been threatened. Like, by this lady and her cult. They threaten anybody, basically, that talks about them. I'll probably get a threat now. I can't wait. So the group has been in Saskatchewan for at least several weeks. Earlier this month, they were chased out of Kamsack, which is a small town on the other side of the province, by hundreds of local residents. Now it appears the group is making plans to stay put in Richmond. It is seeking plumbers and tradespeople to come volunteer for building projects. Followers not currently at the school are posting on Telegram about their plans to travel to the area in mid-October. Allegedly, though, not many people have shown up because they've been doing some picketing outside the school, let's say. The last few years, they've just been traveling around Canada and stopping at campsites, said the journalist. This is the first time they've been presented with access to a building like this. Richmond may not be able to do much officially about it. The school and surrounding land were sold by the government and are now in the hands of a private owner, complicating efforts to move the group. Brad Miller is the mayor of Richmond, and he told local news outlets that residents were monitoring the situation and that it appears the group hasn't done anything illegal in the village. Richmond officials did not respond to interview requests from BBC News. In a statement, Saskatchewan police said an investigation is ongoing into a reported assault at Sunday's protest, but that no injuries or arrests were reported. Mr. Sartaseshi, the extremist expert, said the group is much more serious than their outlandish beliefs make them appear. Too often these kinds of things are ignored until something bad happens. A lot of us were saying, hey, you know that Nexium thing being run by Keith Raniere? Yeah, that thing, it's a cult. And people were like, no, it's not. It's a self-development group, and it's a wonderful place to be. And then it came out that he was sexually assaulting his members and a real big creep and doing all kinds of disgusting shit. So it's hard, though, with a cult, right? He says, I don't know how this ends. I don't know if anything horrible will happen, but I pray that it doesn't. And if you're over here on my channel, you are probably with me on the fact that praying is not going to do shit. Now, the one thing I don't understand, and we'll get into it. Oh, I'll just get into it now. The one thing I don't understand is that technically the city, if somebody moves into a neighborhood and causes their neighbors a whole bunch of problems, there is a way for those neighbors to go to the city and apply to have that person evicted, even if they own their home in most places. Okay, like this is a thing that can happen. If you're being like a fucking awful person and your neighbors are all like together, like, oh my God, get this person out of here, there can be some things done. So I don't understand why they couldn't do something like that, you know? And that just makes me go kind of like, why can't they get them out, even if they are in a privately like owned and rented out school or whatever? If the entire town does not want them there because their presence is going to bring problems, being a cult, a violent one, that was started by a mod on fucking 4chan, That just leads me to believe even more that it was a joke. Okay, that's all that does. But they can be like, listen, like, we don't want them here. Here's all the reasons why. I don't know why there couldn't be some kind of tribunal to go to get them out, or city town meeting or something. I don't know how to do this. I just know somebody that did it to someone. If that makes sense. I have a friend and their whole like condominium got someone out like a few years ago. This is pre-COVID though. I don't know. Maybe things have changed. And that's what it was like. This person bought their condo, right? You buy them. So they had bought their condo, but then they were like disrespecting and breaking all the rules of the condominium. And my friend's mom was like one of the people that helped run like the board over there or whatever. And I guess a whole bunch of people in the condominium like went to the board and went to the city. And they basically like petitioned and got the city and everyone to come and tell the person that they had to move. Like they got an order as if, and you buy it, right? So it was kind of bizarre, but since it was a condominium, they had the board there and they basically got like an eviction notice as if they were renting. And it was like, you know, you have probably got longer. So it was probably like 6 months or something to find a new place to live. The whole building doesn't want you here. So I'm thinking that in Saskatchewan, because I was here in Ontario, in Saskatchewan, though, there would have to be a different, that's like a different state. All right, Canada has provinces instead of states. Saskatchewan is one. Ontario is another. So that's why they might have different provincial laws with that. So it's like, damn it, why can't they go and do something like that, though, in Saskatchewan? There has to be a way where if all 150 people in this city don't want them there and they all really do, like, say, listen, these guys are running a cult. Here's a bunch of violent activity they've done elsewhere. I'm sure that would be suffice, you would think, right? So it's not like they're going to start being peaceful now. I'm sure we're in for hearing a lot of problems, you know? So I don't understand why there isn't some way to still get them out, like legally. It appears to me that that here we have one, and maybe there they don't have one. I don't really know. But the one thing that was kind of funny to me is that the man who invited her. So this was funny to me. The man who invited her got arrested for assault. There is only one organization more powerful than the deep state, and that's any random homeowners association. Right? It's true, though. Like, they can. Technically, they can get you booted. There's, like, some weird, like, laws with the housing tribunal and whatnot. Even for, like, landlords, right? They have special treatment here as well. Like, even if you're just renting. So then the condominium, they have even more power than the people that you would rent from. And they could definitely do something. I don't know why this little town in Saskatchewan is just like, oh no, they took over this old school and now we're stuck with this cult. But I found out that the person that brought her here told her to come and, not here, to Saskatchewan, told her to come and move there, ended up arrested. This article says that an arrest was made in Richmond. That was just 3 days ago on the 21st, I believe. Either the 20th or the 21st. Following reports of an assault in the village. Ricky Mans, who's 59 years old, all right, got charged. He is supposed to appear in court on November 16th. It says leader of the RCMP arrived in this little town on October 7th, setting up a mobile operations center 2 units were posted in the town to monitor the ongoing situation surrounding Romana Didulo, the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada. Again, you know that the RCMP is looking into her. Again, they're just the Canada's FBI kind of deal, okay? Since setting up in Richmond, RCMP has been responding to any calls for service, helping to ensure peace and stability for the locals. The arrest of Mans is notable as he is the one who invited Didulo and her Kingdom of Canada group to come and stay at the former Richmond School building. He is the reported owner of the property and has been hosting them since they arrived over a month ago. So now what they've done is they have blasted out this man's name to the public. So he is now going to be bombarded with people going, get them out of here, get them out of here, get them out of here, get them out of here. Again, I'm not sure if it will do anything. The other thing about this that is semi-good is, as stated, there were no laws being broken around the school. This argument and altercation happened right outside the school. It obviously had something to do with the cult and the residents who are making complaints and picketing in front of the school. More people were supposed to come to the school, but I haven't heard anything else about that. All I'm hearing about right now is how people are picketing out in front of the school and telling these guys to leave. And that's been going on since they got here. At like the beginning of freaking October, end of September, they've been doing this shit. So, this could hopefully be one of the first quote unquote illegal things that happens on the property, which then would give investigators the right to go and look for other illegal things. You know, they need probable cause. And that's basically what they're saying. They're saying, we don't have any reason to go in there and make a stink other than the fact that this woman is who she is. And these people are following her. In a court of law, that doesn't really play out as good enough reason, right? They would need to have lots of examples of these people doing things in Saskatchewan. That's the other problem. With them traveling all the fucking around, as cults do, and this is why they do it, by the way, it's a lot harder to kind of pinpoint what's happening, what's been going on. How many cases of violence has there been? Because for all we know, they could have been violent in a small town 6 months ago, but there wasn't a big enough stink about it, so nobody heard about it. Like, do you know what I mean? There's a lot that can kind of fly under the radar with this. A single tiny digger condom could have prevented this entire situation. It's true. Buy tiny digger condoms today. So there is some latest news. This is the latest news. This came out today. All right. As I was going live, this was posted. So I, of course, have my notifications on for all of the news about this. So it came to me. It randomly fell on my doorstep. It was like, look, QAnon, Queen of Canada group threatens village with executions for treason. And now I'm like, okay, there we have it. That's what we needed. It was one thing when she was in Ontario and she was in like other provinces, because I'm sure she also traveled to other provinces other than Ontario and Saskatchewan in between. When she was going around saying, let's execute all of the people giving vaccines, right? Well, that's only a crime out here. That doesn't do much there. As this police and RCMP stated, they need her to be doing crimes there, where she is right now, in order for them to come and get her where she is right now. And she's doing the same thing that she's done in the past, which is say she's going to execute people. Not just murder, like actually execute. They call themselves the Kingdom of Canada. I guess that's been the actual name. Which, again, they've just kind of come up with over the last, year or so in this weird story. It says here, the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada is back in the headlines after her group allegedly threatened a remote village with public executions for treason and crimes against humanity. The group, which calls itself the Kingdom of Canada, is headed by Romana Didulo, a Filipino immigrant who gained notoriety as a QAnon figure after being forced out of the town of Kamsack. The group made its way into the village of Richmond in the same province of Saskatchewan on September 15th. Didulo and her followers have since stayed at the former Richmond school after being invited by its property owner. Who's that guy that we just found out got arrested? A playground close to the school has been shut down to prevent encounters between the group and children. So now this is one of the first things that this group is doing that serves it as an inconvenience to the whole town. I don't know if you remember, but a little bit ago, we heard people say, and we read me say, you heard me read, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, you heard me read that this playground, which is in the backyard of the school, is one of the safest and one of the only, there's only 150 people in this town. This is a small town. So it's one of the only playgrounds where children were able to go and play and ride their bikes around it. Safe area. Parents didn't have to worry as much. Now it's shut down because they're scared of like the QAnon cult coming to get them, you know? And that's an inconvenience. So if this group continues to cause the town inconveniences like this, and they get enough of them, they can for sure go and get them booted out. And I hope that they do. But the sad thing is that could take a while. There has to be quite a lot of fucking inconveniences. What they alleged said, after residents staged a protest in late September, the group on October 2nd sent at least 4 cease and desist emails to Richmond leaders. Mayor Brad Miller told CBC News. They reportedly accused him, village councillors, fire department members, Canadian police members, a local journalist who is that poor gentleman that we saw in the picture earlier, by the way, that dude, and a school teacher of bullying, stalking, and corruption. The group allegedly coerced the village to obey the decrees of the Queen. Anyone found guilty of treason and crimes against humanity would face publicly broadcast execution upon yourselves and undeserved devastation upon your children, grandchildren, and families. Hello, all. Below is a report about the ongoing situation with Didulo in Richmond, Saskatchewan. Your suggestions and ideas are welcome. Please share on your networks. Also, a few pictures included of the playground, which has been shut down. It's the only playground where the kids can ride their bikes and where parents feel safe. And that was posted by Dr. Christy, Sarteshki on September 28th, 2023. The RCMP have set up a mobile detachment in Richmond, as we know, and they are still investigating the alleged threats. Ricky Mans, the school's property owner, was arrested, October 11th, and he was charged with assault for that altercation, which again was at the school. Didulo, for her part, has reportedly refused to go outside of the school and communicate with Miller or anyone else. No one. She won't leave. The village is now focused on driving the group out legally. We just want her out, the mayor told Vice News. We want our health and safety back. We want the love of our community back to where it was. Yeah. So, right now, she is basically just writing everyone letters saying, listen, you guys are all in treason. You're not listening to me. I'm the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada. All right? The Kingdom of Canada is my kingdom, my cult. And the whole 25 people that I have in this house with me, we're going to take over the world. And it's like, oh my God, please just stop, lady. Like, just don't do that here. You know, just don't do that here. But I guess she is going to do it here. And I don't know, we'll just have to kind of see what happens. I do think, though, that they will eventually be able to get them out. The problem is, as I stated, it might take a little bit of time because they have to do like quite a bit of things to get the town to be upset and need them to go and break the law. And like I said, it looks like they're investigating all they can, but it's hard to prove. It's hard to prove a cult. It's hard to prove when it's an entire group of people doing stuff, like who's doing what and what they're doing for her, you know. We also need to start hoping that these people start paying their bills, because they're going to be without a house. They're going to be without electricity. They're going to be without fucking everything. All right. And that's just a little bit nuts to me that they have 36,000 people that are just like, yeah, I'm not paying bills. I don't have to pay my bill. Queen of Canada told me I don't have to pay it. All right. I don't got to pay it. It's like, Jesus Christ. Really? Like, don't listen to just some random lady calling herself the fucking Queen of Canada and not pay your bills, you know? This probably won't end well. It's reminding me of the Love Has Won cult. And even after the mother god died, they were like going around trying to find a new place with Jason Castillo and all of them, and they were getting kicked out of everywhere, right? Before and after she died, to tell you the truth. So it's given me vibes like that mother god had too, because near the end of her reign, even before she got sick, she very seldom would like come out. She stopped talking to people, you know? You would only see her drunk on a live stream going off after that. She wouldn't really like address the people anymore. She had like her followers go and do that for her. So it's very familiar to me. I feel like that's where we are with this lady now. She knows that as soon as that she can stay inside the compound. And we've seen this before with compounds. Which is technically, that's what unfortunately the school has now been turned into, her cult compound. So it has to be treated as all of the other cult compounds that they've tried to get into. Like, they've tried to shut down Scientology in the past. There was the whole thing with Jonestown. There's so many of them. The Manson family, they went in there a couple times. Like, there's been a lot of cases where the feds have gone into cult areas. Children of God cult. I could go on and on and on and on. There's like so many of them, you know? So now they're going to have to start kind of handling this situation like that. Like, that's a cult compound now, unfortunately. It is better that they shut down the school for now, because you don't want to be over there if something does pop off with the RCMP coming. You know, it'd just be better if you and your children were nowhere near there. So I agree with that. It's just, like I said, it sucks. This is a small town. That's one of the only like parks they have where the kids can play. Kind of selfish. I feel like the Queen of Canada wouldn't actually be that selfish, Romana. I'm just saying. You know, she would care about the children. You need to impress the children if you want to continue your cult. Usually they just have the cult birth 5 million children to keep the cult going. You know? The new Queen's Castle, oh god, it's like a really tiny school too. It's not exactly a huge school. Like, it's small for a school. There's 150 people in the city. The cult moved to Hawaii and she died there. They didn't want to let go of the body. It was really weird. Yeah, and before they were at that place in Hawaii where she had passed and all that, like, they actually went to like 7 different places. And they were kicked out of a few of them. Like, literally, they got kicked out of one of the places in Hawaii. Like, they were like, we don't want you. You are kicked off of this island. Yet, the Love Has Won cult. And then when she died, they let her body mummify. And we are going to actually be covering them later on this week. Yes, if you saw my live streams, I have decided that I want to dive into the 5D full disclosure cult a little bit. I've gotten a bunch of their readings that I've been sitting on for a while. And I think it'll be fun to read through it. I finally had the chance to read through a few by myself here. And I'm like, these are fucking hilarious. I feel like I'm reading a sci-fi. a sci-fi book. All right, it's almost like as if L. Ron Hubbard, all right, and this Romana lady had a baby, and the love child is this cult. That's what it is reminding me of right now. It's just awful. It's just awful. Yeah, I know. Yep. I'm covering that at some point. I just don't remember when. I have like a list of all of the cults, by the way. Like a whole list of every single cult that has ever existed in the world. And then I just research when I have time. And it's on there. Everything's on there. You used though? Oh well, that's okay. They like people that are used and abused, right? Anyway, later on this week, I am going to be going through, well, we're all going to be going through the readings of the 5D Full Disclosure Cult. They have some really good ones, and they're fucking funny. Okay, they're pretty funny. So I thought we would kind of go through them and laugh together. And we are starting with the Ascension one. And then we're just going to take it from there and see what happens. Because we're going to ascend into the readings of the cult, if you will. I used to watch the Love Is One live streams. They were different. They were. And do you know what? They're still doing them. They're just doing them as a different cult now. They've split off into two. One of the side is Joy Reigns, and the other side is the 5D Full Disclosure. Joy Reigns is where Jason Castillo went. So he's still kind of running that one as Father God. He's still around. He has been on the run and then in jail and then on the run and then in jail and then on the run and then in jail. Like, the guy can't stay out of trouble, okay? Not for one fucking minute. They're always stealing and breaking the law to get by, right? So he just keeps going in and out of jail. And the 5D one, we'll get into that later on this week. But I have brought it up several times on my channel because this is one of the most interesting ones to me because it happened in real time for all of us. We were all on here. We were all watching the live streams. I was at a couple of the live streams going, what the fuck new age shit is this, you know? So, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to continue to deep dive it, and then after Christmas we're gonna get back into Ekankar again, because Ekankar I'm not at all done with it whatsoever, but we're going all the way back to the roots, and that is quite a feat to do. So I'm still kind of putting some things together for that. I think that will be after Christmas time. For the rest of this month, we're going to be looking at the 5D Full Disclosure Cult. And we're going to be celebrating Halloween. And I'm going to be releasing some deep dives and some stuff on Passive and some lolcow stuff. So, of course, stay tuned for that. That is all that I have for you guys today. I hope that you all had an awesome, amazing, fabulous day so far. And that you all had fun at the stream. And I'll see you all very, very soon with another one. I think we need to end this on the God Save the Queen song, because I like it and it is fun. So yeah, guys, stay tuned. I'll let you know what's going on the community tab. Talk to you soon. Bye!
Wherever you came from, get out of here!
Arrest of officers for enforcing vaccine mandates and other COVID-19 restrictions.
We could all start calling 911.
Instead, 3 protesters themselves were arrested. province's Special Investigations Unit is looking into possible injuries suffered by one of them, but says the man isn't helpless.
Get that sign out of here right now.
Another was just arrested for allegedly